Welcome back. This is Retirement News Online. When assessing risks to your financial security in retirement, healthcare costs usually top the list. One area that can be overlooked are long-term care costs. Here to talk about this is my guest, Rick Miller in Manassas, Virginia. Rick, the latest studies estimate that 70% of retirees will need some form of long-term care. How much will that cost?
Well, Scott, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, right now a year in a nursing home is $88,000 to $90,000, which is a significant amount of money. The real issue, however, is not so much what it is at this moment as what it will be in the future. If you extrapolate that number out 15 years, for example, you're now looking at $250,000, $260,000 a year just for 1 year of nursing home.
So then, does Medicare cover long-term care?
No, it does not, Scott.
So Rick, talk about long-term care insurance. Is that a good idea?
Long-term care insurance in this country has had a kind of a checkered history. Originally, I think there were 45 or 50 insurance carriers that offered long-term care insurance policies. Just this past year, that has dwindled down to 12. So that has become a very, a difficult choice for many individuals to make. They are concerned about the cost. They're concerned about whether, in fact, they actually will need some return on the thousands of dollars that they're putting out for these policies. So one of the biggest problems with this whole question is, how do you address that risk, or how do you hedge that risk? And very few people are aware that there are quite a number of other strategies that can address the risk without some of the negatives associated with the traditional long-term care insurance policy.
So it's good news. It sounds like people have some options. Can you explain some of these solutions?
Well, many of them are with situations or with instruments that most consumers are not aware of. For example, there's one particular tool where you can put a sum of money in, say $100,000, and immediately that amount is tripled to $300,000, which is available to you then should you ultimately need care. And that would be available, frankly, the day after the account or the contract is put in place. So if you had a stroke right away, you'd have a $300,000 pot of money that would go towards, offsetting those costs. Whether those costs were at home or in a facility, it just wouldn't matter. Plus, unlike the traditional long-term care insurance policy, or at least the bulk of them, if you never use those funds which would continue to grow, at a modest rate, because this is an insurance type of product. But if you never used it, your wife would inherit the money, or if you never used it, after a given period of time, you could get the entire amount back, so that it would be a return of principal. So it's just a very, very flexible way to address, a risk that is very difficult to quantify.
All right, Rick, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome, Scott. It was a pleasure.
My guest has been Rick Miller in Manassas, Virginia, and this is Retirement News Online.